with Sharon Gadella.
Good evening. The majority of Australian households will not be out of pocket by the introduction of a $17 billion carbon tax. But the news isn't so good for the hundreds of businesses and families who will have to pay. Political editor Mark Riley is in Canberra. And Mark, how is it being received?
Sharon, so far so good for the government, but as with all big reforms, there's always devil in the detail. A third of households won't be fully covered and some will get nothing. And Julia Gillard now has to convince everyone the carbon tax she promised wouldn't happen is worth it. The waiting is over and now it's time to clear the air on the carbon tax.
We are now moving from the days of words to deeds.
Commanding the country's attention on a Sunday, answering the question burning in every lounge room.
What does this mean for me?
The carbon price begins at $23 a tonne next July, moving to an emissions trading scheme in 2015. The top 500 polluters will pay.
We are seizing a clean energy future.
But at a cost. Food prices will increase by less than 0.5%, adding $1 to a $200 grocery bill. Electricity will rise by 10% in the first year, gas by 9%. The total hit to the average family budget will be $514.80 a year, the average compensation $525.20, putting them just $10.40 ahead.
In its essence, it's incredibly simple.
With her political neck on the line, Julia Gillard has put much of the gain up front. People at the lower income end get most, high earners get little and pay more. Pensioners will get an advance payment of $250 to help them prepare for the change, as well as pension increases of $338 a year for singles and $510 for couples. From July 1 next year, the tax-free threshold would leap from $6,000 to $18,200 and $19,400 by 2015. An extra 1 million people will pay no tax, no longer feeling the Treasurer's hand in their pockets.
And therefore, they will not have to lodge a tax return. That is tax reform.
Those earning over $25,000 will get a tax cut of $503 a year, $303 for people earning between $30,000 and $65,000, dropping to $128 for those on $75,000. And for people earning more than $80,000, just $3.
It's an important economic reform in the Labor tradition.
Petrol is out and controversial fuel tax credit cuts for truckies have been put off until 2014.
2 years after the scheme starts.
And 1 year after the next election. The carbon tax will bring in $17 billion over the next 4 years, but cost more than $21 billion in compensation and incentives, leaving a budget bill of $4.3 billion. But $9.2 billion will be spent in hard-hit sectors like electricity generation, coal and steel to help transition to cleaner technologies and save jobs. Tony Abbott has been warning that thousands of jobs, whole industries, the entire city of Whyalla will be wiped out under this tax. He now finds himself in the unenviable political position of having to back that up and stop the government from shoving lots of money into people's pockets.
I think the average families of Australia will say they need all this stuff like they need a hole in the head.
He says there's a hole in the government's argument, pointing out a single income family earning $60,000 with one child
is worse off.
A dual-income family earning $120,000 with 2 children will be $400 a year worse off. The Greens were keen, where at last, going clean.
It's effectively a great green action day for this nation.
The independents, for once, were quick to support it.
I promise you I won't be long today.
I promise you won't be long.
And now the selling begins.
There have been false starts, there have been missteps, but it's time to get on with this. We are going to get this done.
And if she doesn't, she'll be done. Mark Riley, 7 News.